Hey guys, and welcome to our final Summer Learning Series challenge. Before I go into this challenge, I just wanted to say that it has been a blast doing these with you this summer and getting a lot of the great people to come on here and do these. We are going to try to continue them once a month throughout the school year. And so if you want to keep up with it, you can follow the blog. If you would like email updates, you can go to the very first blog post, and there should be a Google form on there that you can fill out to sign up for the email updates, and I'll add you to our email list to make sure that you're getting all the updates. But I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for going on this journey with me this summer and this new thing that I was trying to do to get the summer learning series out and to have learning happen. We've ended up with over 2,000 people from over 8 different countries that have participated this summer, and so it has been crazy to watch it explode, and I hope that you've gotten something of really good value. This last week, I wanted to teach you about something called Google Hangouts. And so most of you are probably familiar with Skype, which is a great resource and has a lot of great options for you to use. But if you have a Gmail account, you may find a lot more benefit in something like Google Hangouts, which is what I found a lot more benefit in. So if you just go to Google and sign into your account, you'll have to have your Google Plus account set up. And if you've never been to Google Plus, it's just like Facebook and Twitter, but it's Google's version of it. You don't have to actually use Google Plus to use Google Hangouts, but you do have to go ahead and get it set up. So mine's already set up. And so I'm going to go to it, and then you could just go to plus.google.com, and then they'll have you set it up if it's your first time. Now you can see that it lays it out a little bit like Pinterest and Facebook mixed, and so I can see updates from people that I'm following, that I have them, or in my circles is what Google calls it. But when starting a Google Hangout, you have two options. Number one, I have the little option over on the right-hand side of the screen that is my little Google Hangout bar. And so I can choose to do that. For whatever reason, it's not loading correctly. Of course, it would do that as soon as I'm having to do a Google Hangout with y'all. Okay, so we're not going to use that one. So over here on the left-hand side, there's a home button, and you can go down to Hangouts. And so when I go to the Hangouts, it takes me to the Google Hangout page. And you see at the top of the screen, I can start a Hangout from home, or I'm at the home. I can start a Hangout on air, or I can just do a video Hangout. And now you've seen my right-hand side of the screen pops up as well. This is going to be a great lesson. Okay, so now I'm on the Hangout page. Now this little Hangout bar will always be here. I can get out of the way. I can open it. But I can start a new Hangout really quickly by typing in somebody's Gmail address. So if I wanted to do a Hangout with my friend Stacy Huffine, I could start typing her name. There she is. I click on her. And then right away I can click on the video and start a video Hangout. But I could also start a video Hangout from this page. And so if I go to Video Hangouts, and it'll say no Hangout invitations because nobody's invited me to one right now, but I can start a video Hangout. And you'll see the screen that comes up. It looks just like this. If it is your first time using Google Hangouts, it will ask you to install a plugin, so just be ready for that. Now, I can invite somebody to the Google Hangout by typing in their name if they're in one of my circles, or just by typing in their email address, and they will get a notification of that I've been invited to the Hangout. Now, I'm not going to invite anybody just because I'm trying to show you how to work, and so you'll still see the same kind of thing. So I'm going to close that. So this is the Google Hangout. When I move my mouse, you'll see some options pop up on the side and some options pop up on the top. So from the top of your screen, that's where you can add other people to the call. So let's say I'm talking to Stacy and I want to add somebody else. I can add them there. And this is really, I don't like seeing myself. Let me turn that off. Okay, so then I can also mute my microphone. If something's going on loud in the background and I'm in a group call, I can mute my microphone so they don't have to hear me, and then I can unmute it. I can turn my camera off and on like I just did. I turned it off. And so you can do that. This is your Wi-Fi, how strong it is, and the bandwidth that is being used. And here's your settings for your call. And when you're done, you can just leave the call by clicking the phone hang up button. Along the side, though, this is the reason why I love Google Hangouts. And so one of them is the chat feature. So if I click on that, it will open a chat on the side. What's the value in that? Well, if I'm in a Google Hangout with 10 people, I don't want to be constantly interrupting others with questions that I have. So if there's 10 people in the call and so-and-so is talking, I can just type something over here, and I can type my question, and it'll go out to the whole group, but on the side. So it doesn't interrupt anybody while they're in the middle of their conversation. And I can get rid of that and then have me back in my call. Or I can leave it open the entire time too, and it saves all the stuff. The other great thing about Google Hangouts is you can share your screen. And so I've done Google Hangouts with my mother where I've shared my screen to show her how to click on some things and how to work through some things. So it's great when doing little tutorials, is just the share the screen option. The next one is the capture button. That's where you can click on it, and then you'll be allowed to take a picture of the Google Hangout that's happening. So it's great when if you're doing a Google Hangout with people that you'd want a picture of, then you can go ahead and do that. Then we have the control room. So the control room is only available in the Hangout on Air, and I'll talk about what a Hangout on Air is in here just a minute. You have Google Effects. So with Google Effects, it gives you some different things that you can do within your video. And I know that I'm going to have to turn my camera back on for you to see this one. So here's my camera. Okay, so when I'm doing this and I have my Google Effects, I can add a Cat in the Hat hat. And Google knows where my head is. So when I move my head, it leaves it on there. Or I can add a party hat. Or if I go along to another one, I can add some backgrounds where it kind of looks like I'm at the beach right now, so people could think maybe if they believe that I'm at the beach. You can add different sound effects. So if you're recording a podcast like we do with Edu All Stars, then you can add the sound effects. You can put a prop on the screen where it looks like you're blowing it out. And then you can add facial hair if you would like to. And again, it knows where your face is. And so it will put it on and it will follow along with you as you do that. And so those are just some fun little things. You can do eyewear as well. And so it's just little things to do if you want to make your Google Hangout call just a little bit more exciting. Another one is the Hangout Toolbox, and that's one that I use quite often as well. And so with the Hangout Toolbox, as it downloads and takes its time. So with the Hangout Toolbox, what it will do, and let me get this off me again. My Wi-Fi is really wonderful today because the Hangout Toolbox normally is all over here and doesn't quite look like that. So let me just move on. There are other apps that you can add in. These are apps just like when you add apps in your Google Drive, into your Mac, whatever. You can go down to the three little dots and you can add other drives in, or other apps in. So I have a Google Drive app that I've added in, meaning I can share my documents with whoever's in the call right at that moment. So that's really cool to access and do all that straight from the same screen. And you can just go to Add Apps and find lots of them. So here's the Hangout Toolbox. So I use the first one a lot, and that creates what's called your lower third. And so I can type in whatever I want, and I'll enter a little tagline. And then the color that I may want it to be, I'll leave it as blue, go Navasoda. And then I can turn it on. And when it's on, I can see that. Now, it's backwards to me, but it's not backwards to the other people on the call. And if it drives you insane to see that reflective like that, you can click this little flip button right here, and it'll make it look like that. But it flips your whole screen. But it doesn't flip it for the person watching. It's just for you so that it looks normal to you. And so you can leave that there. You can add all kinds of things by playing with these different features. Google Hangouts is just like any other Google tool. You will not break it. So do not be afraid of clicking on things and messing around because you're not going to mess things up. And I don't even know what this is. Oh, it's a draw app. Oh, so you can draw on people, and that's new. I haven't seen that before. So you can do that. So that's a Google Hangout. I'm going to leave the call. It'll take me back to my screen. Now, you saw the other option was a Google Hangout on Air. That's different. So Google Hangouts on Air are just like a Google Hangout, but it live broadcasts it and it records it to YouTube all at the same time. So when we do Edu All Stars, we do it via a Google Hangout on Air. So I'm just going to start one real quick, and I'm going to name it Test Summer Learning Series. And I can choose to start it now or later. So you can set up your Hangout on Air if you know it's going to be in a few hours. Set it up now and then just go in and start it later. I always set it up as now. I share it. I should have taken the public audience out. And then I'm ready to start it because I'm in charge of this Google Hangout on Air because I created it. So I'm going to go to Start the Hangout on Air. And so I go to Start. It'll start to look similar to the regular Google Hangouts, but you'll see a couple of differences right away. So as we get started with this, the first difference that you will notice, as again it takes quite a big, okay, so I can invite guests, and it says, now you can see my YouTube account is already connected, so I can invite whoever I want, but I don't want to invite anybody, I'm just going to do it by myself, so I'm going to skip that. And you'll see there's some new things over here, so I got it, and you'll see right down here at the bottom, it's loading my Google Hangout on Air, so I'm not ready to go live yet. It's off air, top right hand corner, so I'm not live. I'm just getting ready to go live, so nobody can see this right now except for me. You'll also see there's another option over on the side called Q&A. While doing a live Google Hangout on air, you can have the Q&A open where people who are watching, not in the Hangout, but people who are watching it can leave questions, and you can see them along the side of your screen and answer them. Great for doing tutorials for your students if you have older students. You can say, I'm going to do a Google Hangout at this time, a Google Hangout on air. You can watch it. It'll be me going over the test review. And if you do the questions, you can ask questions while I'm doing it. So you'll see that my start broadcast is here. I can click the start broadcast. It'll say that it's fixing to go live. It'll change this up in the right-hand corner to live, and then I am live broadcasting. And anybody that's online can see it. And then I hit the stop broadcast to stop it. There's some links down here in the corner that gives you an embed. So when we do Edu All-Stars, we don't ever send anybody to our YouTube channel. We get the embed code and embed the video directly on our Edu All-Stars website so that people can just watch it from the website. But you'll get your YouTube link as well. And if you want to send people to the Google Plus page where they can watch it from there, you can do that. The Google Plus page is where they will need to go if they want to ask questions, if you're going to implement that piece. So keep that in mind. When you're doing a Google Hangout, it doesn't have to be right away with somebody from around the world. People think that when you connect for the first time, you've got to do it, oh, I got to connect with somebody from a different state or from a different country. You can connect for the first time with somebody from across your hall or even in the same classroom. Our first Google Hangout was in one computer at the front of the room and another computer at the back of the room. I know that these have been great resources. My kids have loved Google Hangouts, and so I have absolutely loved it as well. Seeing if I can cancel this, but obviously I can't. So, but I wanted to show you this because it's a great another resource besides Skype. The other thing about Google Hangouts is you can have up to 10 people in a call, which is awesome. And it works from anywhere. You can access it from any device. You will have to download the Google Hangout app though. It's not the Google Plus app. It's not any other Google app. It's a Google Hangout app. But you can participate in a Google Hangout from your phone, your iPad, your Android, whatever, and you can still participate. And so I've done Google Hangouts in the car, in my backyard, all kinds of places. And so my challenge for you this week is to do a Google Hangout with someone. Anybody. Reach out to somebody on Twitter and tell them, my Summer Learning Series challenge this week is to do a Google Hangout. Can we do a quick minute-long Google Hangout just so I can see how it works? So happy learning. It was a great summer this summer of learning, and I hope to continue this throughout the year. So follow along, and thank you guys so much for everything.